So, let me ask you something. How do you actually learn to live a meaningful life? It's a huge question, right? Well, it turns out some of the clearest answers, they come from people who are preparing to leave it all behind. Today, we're going to dive into the final incredibly powerful lessons from a man named Professor Maury Schwartz. But before we get to Maury, let me ask you this. Do you ever feel like you're just running on a hamster wheel? You're busy, you're checking all the boxes, chasing that success you're supposed to want, but when you finally stop and catch your breath, there's this feeling that something really, really important is just missing. Yeah, it's a super common feeling. But what if the clearest view of what's important comes from the very end of the road? Facing our own mortality has this incredible way of just stripping away all the noise, all the nonsense, and leaving behind only what's absolutely essential. And that's exactly where our guide for today comes in. His name was Professor Maury Schwartz, and believe it or not, his final months on this earth became his single greatest class, a final lecture for all of us on how to truly live. So, who was this guy? Well, Maury was a sociology professor who was just brimming with life. I mean, the man loved to dance. He just lose himself in the music. But then, in his late 60s, he got this devastating diagnosis, ALS. It's this absolutely brutal disease that slowly takes everything away. And faced with that, Maury had a choice. He could wither away, or he could do something completely remarkable. He decided to turn his own dying process into one final class. This was the core question he faced. But you know what? That choice, it isn't just for someone facing the end. It's a question for every single one of us, every single morning. Am I going to make the most of the time I have? Maury's answer was a resounding yes, and the wisdom that came from that choice, well, that's what we're here to talk about. Okay, so Maury's decision opened the floodgates to some seriously profound lessons. But here's the thing you have to understand. His class wasn't really about dying. No, it was about living. These were urgent, powerful messages meant to kind of shake us awake from that autopilot mode we all fall into. Maury got right to the heart of the problem. He called it societal culture. And you know exactly what he's talking about. It's that constant voice in our heads and our society that just screams more. More money, a fancier title, more stuff. Sound familiar? It's a system that's almost designed to keep us chasing things that deep down we know won't make us happy. And Maury didn't mince words. He saw that this whole system is basically setting us up to fail, to feel like we're never quite enough, because we're valuing all the wrong, empty stuff. So you've basically got two paths in front of you. On one side, you have the default settings of society's culture. Chase the money, the titles, the things. But on the other side is the path Maury talked about, creating your own culture, one that's built not on what you can get, but on what you can give. It's about love, community, and having a real purpose. So how do we do that? How do we create our own culture? This right here might be Maury's most powerful idea. He said we do not have to just accept the culture we're handed. We can be architects. We can consciously choose our own values and then build a life piece by piece around them. And listen, for Maury, this wasn't just some nice-sounding philosophy. He lived it. Just look at these examples. None of them are these huge, earth-shattering things, right? They're small, intentional choices. He started discussion groups. He walked with friends. He danced. He helped people. He chose to ignore the constant buzz of TV telling him what to buy. That's it. That's how you build it. One small, meaningful action at a time. His formula for meaning was actually pretty simple when you boil it down. You see the pattern, right? It's all about looking outward. Meaning isn't some treasure you go out and find. It's something you build, you create, by giving parts of yourself away. He also gave us these four, let's call them philosophies for a life with way less regret. First, accept what you can do and what you can't. Second, accept the past. It is what it is. Third, and this is a big one, learn to forgive yourself and other people. And finally, number 4, never, ever assume it's too late to start over. It's all about acceptance and hope. Okay, so if you're going to build your own culture, what's the foundation? What's the bedrock you build it all on? For Maury, the answer was simple. It was absolute. It was love. He said, love is the only rational act. Think about that. When you realize how short our time here is, investing in love is the only thing that really makes sense. Your career will end, your money will be spent, but the love you put out into the world and the love you let in, That's the real stuff. That's the only currency that truly matters.
I mean, if you were to draw a pie chart of what a good life looks like according to Maury, it would be something like this. Look at how much space is taken up by love, connection, community, purpose. And then look at that tiny little slice for status and money. The real question this chart asks us is, what does your pie chart look like? Where are you putting your time and energy?
Now look, life isn't always easy. It's not all dancing and discussion groups. It's also full of pain, sadness, and loss. And as his body was failing him, Maury had some incredible wisdom on how to deal with the tough stuff too. His method was brilliant. He said, don't run from the bad feelings. Don't pretend you're not sad or scared. No, when sadness comes, you dive right in. You let yourself feel it completely. You cry until you're done crying. But, and this is the crucial part, then you let it go. And you deliberately turn your attention back to what is good in your life. There's this one story that captures this so perfectly. As Maury got weaker and was stuck in his house, he would just sit and look out his window at this little tree. And he once said, I appreciate that window more than you do. Wow. Because his world had become so small, he could see the incredible beauty in something the rest of us don't even notice. His limits became a source of gratitude. Which brings us to his last and maybe his most important piece of advice. It's a simple little mental trick, a metaphor he shared to help all of us live with that same kind of urgency and clarity that he found. He said we should all imagine that we have a little bird sitting on our shoulder. Go ahead, picture it right now. It's with you all the time. And this little bird isn't just sitting there. It's whispering questions in your ear, really important ones. The first thing it whispers is today the day? Now that sounds kind of morbid, I know, but it's not meant to be. It's a tool for focus. It's a way to force yourself to ask, if this was it, what would I change right now? And then the bird follows up. Am I ready? Have I done everything I need to do? This question is all about getting your house in order. You know, those apologies you've been putting off, the thank yous you never said, the people you need to tell I love you to. It's about not leaving things unfinished. And finally, the bird asks the most powerful question of all. It looks you right in the eye and asks, am I the person I truly want to be? Not the person your boss wants you to be or society tells you to be, but the person you, at your core, want to be. And that's the ultimate challenge Maury leaves us with. To listen to that little bird and start becoming that person today, right now.